Morning everyone, Tony from Hearns here, part 3 of the YOKOMO SO build. Again, this is my car. I'll be racing this year, and in theory it should even make me look good. Let's get on to it. On part 2 we got as far, most of the chassis is built. Rear shock tower, rear bulkhead, that's all ready. I stopped at the end of that section because the next section we've got here is building the transmission or the gearbox or whatever it is you want to call it. Everyone's got their own opinion on that. Now, I got a little carried away earlier getting all the stuff out ready to go, and I actually started work on it, which I probably shouldn't have done, but anyway, we'll blaze away. What I've done now, I've got the main diff gear, the outdrive is in, and I've got the little pin that goes through there. This is an absolute pain to get in most cars, trying to get that little pin through because you can't see. Let's get something to do some pointing. You've got to line it up with these notches on either side of the diff casing. Now what I do to make sure that I know where the hole is in the outdrive is I use a paint marker and put a white mark across, so I know that's where the pin goes. It makes it so much easier. In fact, it was so easy on this one, I just dropped the pin in and pushed it and it went straight in. On so many other cars it's taken me 20 minutes and I've invented a whole lot of new swear words to get it in. But on this one it went straight in. I'm really happy with that. Make sure that the O-ring gets some appropriate lubricant on it. It says so in the instructions, don't forget it. And don't just use any lubricant. O-ring grease of some description is what you need. In this particular car I've used XTR blue grease because it was on the bench. So we've done the first part. I've got the outdrive in. We now drop the bevel gear in. You need to make sure you've got this in the right spot or it won't sit properly. Now that I've turned that round a few times and it's still not seated properly. If it doesn't seat properly, that means you don't have the pin centered. So we'll just try and move that across a little bit. That looks better. Okay, now I think that's okay. Oh, it's not. It's hard to tell when it's a car that you haven't actually built before. You don't know whether the top of the outdrive pin should line up with the bevel gear top. I'm actually going to tip that out again. I'm not 100% sure that's correct. Oh no, if it's not coming out, I'm going to say that's okay. You'll find out later on when you go to assemble the other half of the diff. If it doesn't sit correctly, there's no way you'll get it in. I've got the cross pin here with the 4 little bevel gears, already pre-assembled those. Once again, I got ahead of myself. There's washers that need to go on. We'll put those on. The automatic tendency here is to want to lubricate these in some way because that's what you do, but it's not necessary this is going to be in an oil bath. This is a gear diff. Drop that in. Just do a preliminary turn. Yeah, they're seated nicely. That looks pretty good. what I'll do is just hold this so I can turn it. Now that's not, I'm looking for a consistent turn here and it's not getting it. I'm going to lever that out. And lost half my washers. Now I think the reason I'm not getting a consistent turn is this isn't seated properly. I thought it was, so we'll try this again. Looks like I've made a fool of myself here. I said it was easy to get the pin in, which it was, but now getting the gear to sit on that pin is not so easy.
What have you done?
You be quiet. You just sit over there doing your stock orders. It's hard work in here. People will think they know what they're doing. That's not me. Alright, we'll give that another go. That looks better. Yep, confident with that. So we're now at this stage of the build. Now, the other side of the housing, O-ring, we'll get some of the blue O-ring grease. Just apply that. Yes, you shouldn't be using a hobby knife to do this, particularly on a rubber O-ring, because the chances of me cutting it are high. Do as I say, don't do as I do. Push the out drive through. Now, okay, one washer. Now it's much easier to put the pin through on this because you can see what you're doing. Where are we? Silly me, I didn't line it up with the notch. Just turn that around. I'm going to complain about the studio lighting here, it's not good. Even though we've got big lights and they're blinding me, I can't see what I'm doing. Did you hear that, BJ? I'm complaining. Even though they're good lights, they're not good enough for old 67-year-old eyes.
I'm not listening.
Good. Yes, you are.
You want some Googles?
No, I've got glasses at home.
Oh, okay.
I just forget to bring them in.
Oh, okay.
Alright, that's all done. Here's the messy bit. I'm using the oil that came in the kit. It says 5,000. This will. Just going to keep going. It tells you how far to fill it up, but you need to give it a minute or two. Well, actually, you probably need to leave it a bit longer than that. Now, this is the gear diff that comes in the kit. There is an optional ball diff available, which this car will probably get because I'm an old school guy and ball diffs are what I'm used to. And certainly, depending on the track, then you will change the diff. Certainly, at the Knox track, I'd be very much likely to use a ball diff, just ease of adjustability, and I think the ball diffs cope better with the old school type surfaces. Gear diffs, if you're running on a smooth surface or on carpet or something, then they're the way to go. We'll just keep pulling this up, it just keeps going and forever and ever. I'm going to let that settle for a bit. Now, I'll get out my trusty hobby knife to put some more grease on but this time I'm actually using the YOKOMO black grease that comes in the kit. I'm going to use some of that just to help seal the gasket that goes on here. You can afford to be a bit generous with it, because this very much helps all this gooey oil stay in. You can't moan and whinge that all the oil's leaked out of my diff if you haven't done this step. That's why they give it to you. So whack it on. You'll get a bit on yourself, well, you'll get a lot on yourself. Tiny gasket. Doesn't help when you've got big fat fingers like me. And this is a fragile gasket. Okay, that's good. Now I'm going to put some more on this side as well. And I've managed to successfully get it all over our build mat too. Excellent. That's successfully covered everywhere I need, and all over myself as well. I'll just lean around to get a rag. Okay, that looks about right. We've got the level about right in there, and because we put all the goop on it, the gasket will stay fixed to there. And now just move over to there, put that together. And there's just do a prelim. That's all good. Well, it would be all good if I had remembered to put this in. We'll just add that to the list of things that I got wrong. That's better. Okay, now I've played with that. Not 100% sure that that's seated properly. That should sit down a little bit better. Might be alright. Now, 2x8 button head tapping screws. let's refer to the YOKOMO manual. 2x8. I can't find them. M3s. Here I was saying in the last video I was getting used to this way of doing things, but now I can't find it. 2x4, 2x6. Ah, tapping screws, self-tappers. It's not really exciting for you watching this, is it? Let's have a look. Move that over to there. I actually think these may be no, I thought they might be in bag 4, but they're not. Reference again, M2x8, button head screw, bag 9. Okay, we'll stop that. I've got to look for those screws. I'll find them, then we'll come back and start it again. Alright, don't come back out. I need to pull this apart. It's binding up somewhere. I'm not sure where. So I'll let you know when it's time to start it again. Done. Okay, we'll take it back to where I started looking for these little screws. Cut out that bit and we'll start again now. Okay, the screws we need are here. Bag 14 for the button head ones, tiny little ones. Now, it specifically tells you to do it crossways. This is a normal procedure with a lot of things. This is only a plastic diff side, and if you just wrench down on it hard, it will distort it. So you just get them started and then slowly go around crossways to seat them. Just do a check there to make sure the thing turns. Otherwise we've got to pull it all apart again. Don't want to be doing that. There we go. It's probably not a good idea to tilt it over because without a seal at the moment the oil will come out. So let's... I just felt that seat nicely, so it wasn't 100% correct. Now it is. These are really tight fit. The hex driver in the screws. Don't do it too tight. Just enough so that it seats. That's all you need to do. That's good. Each one just till the bottom's out, then just maybe a quarter or a half turn more. Okay. That's done. That actually feels pretty good. Happy with that. It's time to turn the page, which is good because you're probably sick of that. I'll put the little screws back in bag 14. Now, transmission casing or gearbox casing, whatever you want to call it, this is in bag 5. Here's bag 5. Oh, another nice little machined alloy part. This is the motor plate. I love it when they just do this. They don't need to do this, but it just looks so good. Let's start on this. Using my 9 steps nippers to get it right. It's worth spending a bit of money on these because you just get such a nice clean cut when you do it properly. Move that over to there. Let's reference the pictures, see what we've got. Oh no, there's someone else come in.
What's go? Have you been annoyed?
No, I haven't. Oh, BJ was making comments, but I told him to go away.
How you looking here, mate?
No, that's just so diffy.
Isn't it?
It's just so
It's
diffy.
very much a differential.
Oh, I believe it is. I believe it is.
I love your little pin trick. Did you talk to people about your little pin trick?
I talked to people on my little pen trick.
Getting the pin in because you were worried about getting the little dry.
I'm always worried about getting it in,
But you did.
but I got it in, and we
With
held.
ease and precision.
Oh,
Wait till you open this lay shaft.
oh, look, I'm.
No? One piece machined aluminium, hard anodized.
It actually reminds me of an Associated B4 one, but anyway, that's another story. Why does it?
But better.
The B. Only reason I know about the B4 one is because that was the optional trick for the RC10 World car. The gearboxes used to bind up because the one they actually put in it was terrible. But you got the top shaft out of a B4 and it worked. There, that's a bit of useless information.
Useless. I'm looking forward to it.
There you go. So I'm just pulling all this stuff out.
I'm going to take this opportunity and I'm going to go get you another spur gear.
Are you?
Yes.
Well, you don't like this one?
No, well, you're not running mod, are you?
No.
You gonna run mod?
No, because I'll just crash faster.
There's a good chance you won't need that. Comes with that 82.
Yep.
There's a good chance you'll need a 72. I'll go grab you one, mate.
What, do we have them here?
I reckon.
That's good. Do we distribute YOKOMO or something? I wouldn't know. All right, now that we've got rid of him, we haven't got rid of BJ though, but he's keeping quiet now. He said he's not listening, but I know he is.
So you can get an 80 tooth, which is do anything mod.
Yep.
It's a ridiculous. 72 and 69.
Okay.
You're going to run this in 21 or you're going to run it in
I'm probably
17?
No, I'm going to run in 21 to start with to get my hands in.
Get your head in the game?
Yeah, and then I can crash it in something else.
Alright, well I might get you a 69 then.
Oh!
Okay?
If that's not a good offer, I don't know what is. Bearings. I'm going to assume that YOKOMO does a good job with these bearings before they put them in the packet. I normally spray them out and then lube them, but I'm not going to in this case. I can seat that with a Tamiya tool.
There you go, mate. There's a 69.
Oh,
Little.
My,
When you put it next to the 80,
yep.
48 pitch. And in your spares kit, I did give you a rather fancy slipper plate.
Oh, that will be going on very
That's
soon.
not so much for heat dissipation, this is for looking cool and awesomeness.
Yeah, that's all I care about.
How are you enjoying this build so far, mate?
Oh, I'm liking it.
Is it the first time you've really got in touch with the 9 Steps tools?
It is. I have mentioned the various 9 steps tools, particularly the nippers.
The nippers?
Yep.
But the driver's nice too.
The
right?
drivers are pretty good.
Curling,
Yeah.
not too aggressive, nice.
Yeah, it doesn't leave me with bloodied hands.
No.
That's what happens to you usually, but that's usually because you've cut yourself.
Yeah.
So,
All
but
right,
in
mate,
this
I'll
instance,
leave it with you.
yeah, I'm just going to keep cruising along here. There we go. That will be going on. And what Brett was talking about was the vented slipper clutch. It doesn't, to replace this one. It doesn't actually do anything, but oh God, does it look cool. And that's what matters. Right, that bearing's in. We've got the top shaft. That's okay, and now another bearing. I'm going to do everything on this side first, and then we'll just offer up the other side. The idler shaft. There we go. That's a reluctant beast. There we go. That's it. Yep, that's pretty good. One more bearing. Now, the question of lubrication. Everyone does it differently when it comes to lubing the gears in the gearbox. I used to use silicone spray, I do on some cars now, but lithium grease seems to be the main way to go. I'm conscious of not wanting to put too much on, but it's definitely worthwhile putting something on. I know Brett puts a lot more on than I do, but there's no right or wrong way to do this. It's a personal thing. But for me, that's probably enough. We'll just turn that round just to get it evenly distributed. And once we've put the diff in, it will get on over there. I might put a little bit more on the diff just to get it right. Alright, that's all good. We can now put this on. Oh, that's always good. The nice sound when everything snaps together right and you think, yes, I've got through that bit and I haven't got it wrong. And these are held together with there's an M3x8 button head screw. We'll go up the top to the reference. That's in bag 5. And there's an M3x10, which is in bag 6. Just so the 3x8 is in this top section. I'll just screw that in part way, not all the way yet. And it's the 3x10 is in the rear of the casing over here. Again, not too tight. This can be an important section, particularly in the gearbox area. You want to make sure that the whole thing spins freely. If you do these up too tight, it'll bind the case and it won't work. And that's fine. No, it's not going crazy spinning because I've got the grease on it, but it's all free, so that's good. We've done that then. Okay, now we get to put on the cool motor plate. Turn that around. That goes on there. We've got, and now the spur gear guard is here. Nip that off. Oops. Now this goes on behind the motor plate. It's held on with the little 2x8 tapping screws from bag 14. I remember them because that was just a few minutes ago. There's only 2 of these to go in. You need to be careful with these because they're going into plastic, and if you really wrench on them hard, you're going to strip the plastic. Take care and don't put too much muscle into it. I'll just line that up. There's the first one. I thought it was the first one, but it's not. That's better. I wonder why there was no resistance when I was screwing into it. That's done that. I might pull that off just to get it easier to do. Yep, let's fix that. Now that goes on the motor plate. them 3x8 countersunk screws. Bag number 1. Bag number 1. There's bag number 1. We'll get 3 of these out. Again, the same as what I always do. Put all the screws in, maybe halfway first, and then do them up. This is going along pretty well. Hopefully we'll have a completed transmission and attach it to the car within the next 20 minutes or so. Then you don't have to listen to me anymore. You can go and do something else. Or you can just sit here and yell at the screen and say, TFG, you've got no idea what you're doing. And to some extent you'd be correct. Okay. Diff can go in now. That just drops in nicely there. Oops, forgot. We need to do these first. You'll notice here on the bearing carriers there's height adapters. You can change the height of the diff relative to the casing. We're just going to do it exactly as it says in the manual initially. For someone like me, it doesn't make a lot of difference changing things like that. Just got to make sure I get the right one. I'm looking for the one that says 3, and that's this one and this one. That's so small I can barely read it, and there's no one else here to ask to check. But it looks correct. Looks to be in the uppermost part. Yep. Bearings go in these. And we're good. Tiny little washers, you need to put them on. I thought I'd lost one, but they were both just stuck together. You think, oh, they're not important, but they are. They space the bearing and you need to get it in the right place. Again, you get the nice satisfying click. Okay, that's in the right spot. Alright. That's ready to go now. We'll drop that down. If you've got them pushed in correctly, it all should just slide straight in and fit perfectly, which it does. Do a quick spin. You can see we've got just the right amount of grease on there. Well, I think we have anyway. Again, there's no right or wrong with this. Everyone has their own opinion. So that's ready. We've got that right. So we can now close the gearbox off. We need the gearbox cap. Which is over here. I Shouldn't have left that over there. They should be here where all the parts are. I was panicking for a minute thinking I'd lost something again. Make sure that's oriented correctly and fits down beautifully. That's good. Let's get some 3x8 screws. You think I'd remember by now where they are. Hang on, they're 3x8 button heads. Number 5. 2 of those at the front, and I think it's the 10s in the back. Button head 3x10 is in bag 6. I think by the end of this I'll remember what screws are in what bag, but by then they'll all be empty, so it won't matter. For those of you who might wonder, it's really strange building a car and filming it and talking to other people while you're doing it. You're very conscious of the fact that people are watching, very conscious of dead air when there's, like, I'm not saying anything. You think, oh, I need to say something. But I'll just, ooh. Okay, we'll just screw the top on. I'll take time now to point out that unlike the old days of the like the associated stealth gearbox and stuff like that, where there was gears, gear, and the thing was upright, nowadays low center of gravity is the absolute important thing to get everything as low as possible, so the gearbox is actually laying down, so everything's super low. Just do these up again, conscious of not doing them too tight. I'm hopeful that I won't have to pull this apart again for some time. Okay, that's done. Final check. Yep, that's all pretty good. Now, the shock tower, which we assembled in the last video, that now goes onto here. Get some 3x10s, bag 6 I remembered. And the other ones are M3x18 button heads, bag 4. There'll be a test on this later. I'll be asking everybody what bag the screws are in. Ooh, I haven't opened bag 4. It's got a staple in it, but it seems to be heat sealed anyway. This is the part where Brett usually cuts himself, but he's not here. Doesn't hurt to occasionally go with the reference and check to make sure you've got the right one. M3x18, yes. And these are the bottom ones. This is very reluctant. I'm going to do the 3x10s first. Pull that out and make sure it's right. Okay, this is actually a really tight fit. That explains why the big ones were not keen to go in. In cases like this, check the manual again, make sure you've got it right. I had it turned around the wrong way. Again, this is all about, I'm not used to doing this on camera. You don't normally see my mistakes at home. It's only other people in the house hear me when I'm yelling out, oh no, I've got that wrong.
What have you done wrong now?
I haven't done it wrong now. I've realised that I've done something wrong and I've unwronged it.
Oh, very good.
I wondered why it wouldn't go together and I had it round the wrong way.
I know about you and getting things around the wrong way.
I've been known to get things round the wrong way and I've done it live and people will go, that Tony Gray, he doesn't know anything. You're going to heat up your lunch, brother?
Yeah, of course. I need a bit of a feed.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I'll just keep building this then. That's better. Now, the fact that it didn't go on and I couldn't do it up initially should have alerted me straight away to, you've probably got something wrong there. So I had a look, and yeah, I did. Had the shock tower back to front. I don't mind. I'm happy to get it wrong on camera. It might save someone else doing the same thing. I'll go, oh, I'm better than that Tony Gray. He got this bit wrong. What an idiot. And maybe you're right. It doesn't matter how many hundreds of cars you've built. But I will use the excuse, hey, I'm on camera doing this. You can just do it at home at your leisure. Oh, look at that. We've got essentially a functioning transmission with the shock tower ready. Now we've got to put the slipper clutch on. And here's the other spur gear which Brett kindly provided. I'm going to put the slipper pads in. Given that I run in the low power classes, due to being old, the slipper's not quite so important for me. But it is important that it looks good. And it doesn't get any better. How good is
Looks
that?
good.
How good is that? I mean, I'm thinking about having to lay down now because that looks so good.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's completely and utterly pointless.
In 21.5, yeah.
Yeah, I've said that. I said I don't really need a slipper in 21.5.
No.
I will, But
you do. It does handle it like on the bumps. You don't want to feel it, but it will help the car handling the bumps.
yeah, I might just sit here for the next 10 minutes of the video and look at that.
Because it's even cross-drilled.
Yeah, that's just completely and utterly pointless. But
it's beautiful.
But it's a beautiful thing, unlike you and me.
Wow, speak for yourself.
No, I'm pretty confident. Yeah, we're good.
I just heard you say beautiful, and I just thought you were talking about me again.
I understand that, but no. It's bloody hard to do things here. Constant interruptions from idiots. Usually it's me interrupting them, but not this time. Alright, we'll slide that on. Actually, I might put the pad on this one first. It's a bit of a tight fit. This is... There we go. Get the spur on. Okay, that's sitting nicely. And now our vented slipper plate. Oh, look at that. That is absolutely a thing of beauty. You cannot beat that. I love that. Let's put a spring collar. Goes like that. Make sure you get the orientation of that right. Now it's got a setting here for where you should get the slipper clutch to. It says 0.5 to 1 mil of the thread sticking out. Now I'm not going to bother about that now. I'm just going to do it up a little bit. We'll sort all that out later. It's not critical for me right now. That is a completed transmission. With the slipper clutch mounted, rear shock tower on, we now get to put it onto the car. It sits there. Now this is really starting to look like a build. Pretty damn happy with this. M3x8s are what holds it in. These are button head M3x8s. I got ahead of myself. M3x8, it's bag number 1 for all these ones. So we'll just start those off. There's quite a few of these. 6. First one's the hardest. So I'm using that one to locate it, then I'll go over to this side to do that one. So that should line them all up. Yep. You can see what I've done here by doing that and that diagonally. It means every other screw will then line up. Okay, we've got those there. Now I've noticed that the rear upper arm mount assembly goes on now. Now I'm not sure whether I need to be able to fit that underneath the gearbox or whether it just goes straight on. So I'll check the fitment of that first. And it's okay, but I'll put that in now. That's M3 by 22 screw. Bag 8. There's bag 8. Bag 8 has actually got a number of different size screws on in it, so you want to double check to make sure. Yep. There's a big long screw. Ooh. Oh, sometimes the head of the Allen screw driver gets caught. We'll just go there, we'll nip that down, back to the other side. That's good. And now finalise the transmission mounting screws. Again, doing it diagonally. Just to make sure we don't warp anything. Sometimes the tolerances on these parts are so very tight that it's very easy to warp something by screwing it in the wrong sequence. So by doing it this way, you avoid that happening.
You like tight tolerances, don't you?
BJ, I don't mind a tight tolerance now and again. But it's okay, we've got some O-ring blue grease here and some lithium grease, so we're well done. As I said before, people, it's hard to build a car here. But we're good. Where are we at next? I am going to leave that there. We have a chassis now, an assembled transmission or gearbox or whatever you want to call it. We've got the rear suspension on, the rear wing mount on. We've got the slipper clutch on with incredible, amazing looking vented thing that doesn't actually do much, but we don't care. We'll leave it there. Next one, we'll put the waterfall on and some other bits and pieces, and we'll see where we go from that. I'm Tony from Hearns. I hope you didn't fall asleep during this one. I nearly did, but that's okay. We'll catch you next time.